Day Military Parade Planning Committee or Security Subcommittee is joining us this morning to share information with the public on general public parking locations, arrival time, access and entry points for the Independence Day Military Parade. And in the studio with me this morning, we have Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Winston Maharaj, and Lieutenant Colonel Dexter Metivier from the National Operations Fusion Center. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm coming to you first, Lieutenant, because I wanted to get the general route. I mean, I know we have it every year, but tell us the general route this year for that parade.
Right. Good morning to the viewing public, and thank you for the opportunity. The route for the parade is as follows. First of all, there will be a segment that occurs at the grandstand area.
Right.
Right, and that lasts for about an hour. It starts at around 8 a.m. when the president arrives, and will last for about an hour. And then the route march will start around 9:30 a.m. in the morning. The route will take the parade down Frederick Street, and will take a right by Tech, right, onto Park Street. From Park Street, it will go until Globe Cinema, what we know as Globe Cinema or Park Plaza, and then we'll head onto Tragrit Road. From Tragrit Road, it will, the entire Tragrit Road onto Western Main Road, passing by the Roxy Roundabout, where Pizza Hut is, a famous landmark.
Yes.
All right, and then it goes on to Long Circular Road and enters the outside football field of the Police Training Academy, also known as the Ken Cook Field. Nice. Right, so that's the route for the parade.
Now, all along this route, anybody can stand there and they'll be able to see the different Defense Force, fire services,
yes.
Police, yes, everybody coming on there.
In terms of viewing the parade, there are basically two opportunities to do so.
Right.
One will be at the grandstand area, where the troops will do that hour of parade before they go on the route march. So they can also view the parade from that location. Right? And there are specially invited guests who will come to the parade, and of course they'll be accommodated in the grandstand area. However, members of the general public are also invited to the grandstand area, but again, it's based on invitation. And these invitations can be procured at the Ministry of National Security on Abercrombie Street from Thursday of this week from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Is there a limit to how many invitations you can get? 2 per person, 3 per person, that sort of thing?
Well, it's 1 per person.
1 per person.
Yes.
Okay.
Additionally, second opportunity to view the parade is from along the route.
Right.
Right. And we are asking the general public, if you are doing so, to occupy the pavement areas along the route.
Yeah. And
do not encroach on the roadway, because the roadway is for the troops on parade as well as security elements that will be accompanying the troops on parade.
Of course. I'm coming to you, Assistant Commissioner, Acting Assistant Commissioner. The parking arrangements, because we just heard that long route that's taking us all the way down Queen's Park, Savannah, Park Street, etc. Where can we park if we want to see the parade?
Okay. Parking has been a perennial. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Yes. Parking has been a perennial problem, particularly on Independence Day. It is limited, and the space has to be shared among participants of the parade and the viewing public. For those persons who are specially invited guests, there are special parking arrangements. We have done a new parking system this year. We have obtained permission to use 7 satellite car parks in proximity to the venue. And dignitaries on their invitation will see the designated car park. It is also color-coded. So they proceed to that car park, where they will be shuttled to the venue, and then on completion of the parade, across to the Napa for Toast to the Nation.
Right.
Let me talk about places where parking is restricted for this parade. You will appreciate it is a security risk, and therefore we need to mitigate against the issues associated with the parade. So persons are advised to refrain from parking on Dundonald Street, between the Queen's Park, Savannah, and New Street. New Street, between Dundonald Street and Charlotte Street. Chancery Lane, Gordon Street, Keith Street. Abercrombie Street, between New Street and Keith Street. Albion Street, between Victoria Avenue and Chancery Lane. Traffic will also be one-way heading east and is for parade-related traffic. Frederick Street between Queen's Park Savannah and Queen Street, Park Street from Frederick Street to St. Vincent Street, Traggery Road from St. Vincent Street all the way down to Long Circular Road, and Long Circular Road from the Western Main Road to Barbados Road. I would have cautioned for persons who want to venture and, take the chances. There will be a wrecking service in effect to mitigate against indiscriminate parking.
Of course. Mr. Maharaj, question, when does this take effect?
The notification by law has already been sent up for authorization and signature for validation by the various committee, and soon it will be published in the dailies, in the newspapers, so that the public will be aware as to the specific restrictions as it relates to parking for this occasion.
Right. So I guess we need to look out to see when it's going to take effect, if it's the night before, the morning of. But also, too, this is where people can't park. Is it that we can't drive along that route as well?
Well, the route, there will be restricted access to vehicular traffic along the route. Primarily, national security vehicles, emergency vehicles will be given priority to use the routes. Persons who do not need to be in that space ought not to find themselves there.
Yeah.
Because on the day, the route is exclusively or primarily for use by the parade.
Of course. Mr. Maharaj, earlier you would have mentioned as well that there is specific parking for those dignitaries, for specially invited guests, and not the dignitaries, but the ones who would have gotten their invitation from the Ministry of National Security, members of the public, that sort of thing. Are there designated points for them to park, or is it that they have to park apart from those streets that you mentioned, are restricted, and make their way or walk to the grandstand of the Queen's Park Savannah?
No, well, as I mentioned earlier, the satellite parking locations for those invited guests.
So invited guests also cover the ones who would have gotten their invitations, the members of the public?
Well, we have the VVIP, the dignitaries, those persons who will be allowed parking closer or in the premises of the Queen's Park Savannah, specially designated areas for that parking. And then they make their way to drop off at the grandstand, make their way into the venue, and the vehicles park at the designated locations.
What I'm trying to understand is members of the public who want to see it. And if it is, you can jump in here as well.
Yeah, I could probably help there.
Sure.
So for members of the public who are attending the parade at the grandstand area, there's parking to the west of the grandstand in the vicinity of the U.S. Embassy.
Yes,
but they have to enter that Queen's Park Savannah from Casual Corner. Right, so members of the public who are parking in that area, they are asked to use either Stanmore Avenue or Cipriani Boulevard to access the Queen's Park roundabout.
Then I'm happy here. Where exactly is Casual Corner?
So as soon as you pass the U.S. Embassy, it's that bend that you meet.
Right, okay, seeing it, yes.
Yes, and then you enter the Queen's Park Savannah from there, and you'll be directed as to how to park.
Okay.
There's also parking available to the east of the Queen's Park Savannah. And you enter the Queen's Park Savannah from the entrance opposite the St. Anne's roundabout. Right. So again, for members accessing the car park to the east from general public, they are asked to enter the Queen's Park roundabout from either St. Clair Avenue, Serpentine Road, and when they reach in the area of the zoo, keep on the extreme right-hand lane so that they can gain easy access into the Queen's Park Savannah from opposite the St. Anne's roundabout.
The parade begins at 8, as you would have mentioned, around 8 o'clock. Is there an advice for people who are attending to come down there 6, 7? I know people are there from pretty early. So if you have to get there and park, is there a time that you would advise members of the public to start coming to the grandstand?
Right. So if you are invited to the grandstand, there will be timings on your invitation, which you can utilize to guide your arrival. In terms of the general public, they are asked to come as early as possible, as from around 6 a.m., because there are limited seats at the bleachers where anybody from the public can access, even without a ticket. And of course, there are limited seats, so if you come early, then you can be guaranteed of a seat. However, those bleachers are not covered, so if you come in, be aware of the elements, because the weather could change easily on you, from hot sun to rain.
Of course. Mr. Maharaj, any other general information you think members of the public should know?
Yes, certainly. Well, the event is one that the public looks forward to every year. The pomp and glamour, the flair that the state puts out on display for the viewing public. We have some basic common sense things that we want people to consider. Yeah. That parade comprises officers of both armed and unarmed contingents. So we're talking about firearms. Mm-hmm. It is not for members of the public, and members of the public are asked kindly to desist from, or try to resist that temptation of getting into the parade. It's not a carnival band to jump into.
Now, Mr. Maharaj, you say that's not a carnival band, but I heard last year fire services opened the water, people was in the water and that sort of thing, eh? So
right. That really is an unofficial, to use a better term,
right.
That use of the water and whatnot that the public tends to enjoy.
Yes.
So we understand right. The issues that came up with that particular activity. Yes. So we have adjusted to cater for the location of the particular tender so that they can do whatever it is they do
so they can enjoy
to appease the public.
Yes, yes.
While simultaneously not impeding the smooth flow of the parade and creating that propensity for persons, non-authorized persons, to find themselves on the parade.
Yes.
Another critical issue, this is a timed event, and therefore we urge persons to adhere to the timings on their tickets. You may be impeded in one way or the other if you don't fulfill the requirements of the timings. Oh. We want to mention the parade on the 31st of August really is the culmination of a series of planning and rehearsals that will take place. So there will be some inconvenience to members of the public to facilitate these rehearsals, particularly on the 23rd of August, where the rehearsal is scheduled to take place at the Nelson Mandela Park. On the 28th of August at the Queen's Park Savannah, and our final dress rehearsal is on the 29th of August, also at the Queen's Park Savannah, where the full simulation takes place, inclusive of movement of the dignitary from President's House into the Savannah. So there will be some vehicular restrictions on those days. Of course, law enforcement police officers will be on location to guide the process, and we ask the public to show some kind of understanding for what is taking place to produce the experience called Trinidad and Tobago Independence Day celebrations.
Yes, Colonel.
Right. I'd just like to add one thing, right? To members of the public, residents, businesses, and medical institutions in and around the Queen's Park Savannah, there will be a series of loud explosions, right? And this is more to the end of the parade that occurs at the grandstand area, and that's around 9 a.m. So please take the necessary precautions to safeguard yourself. And it is a part of the parade, so there's no need to be alarmed.
Okay. And gentlemen, before you go, I have to ask. We have about 1 more minute, but I have to ask, are we going to be seeing you in the parade, and what are your roles going to be on that day? I'll start with you first, Lieutenant.
No, I will not be in the parade,
right.
But I will be assisting with the coordination of the security elements.
Nice. And, Mr. Maharaj?
Well, likewise, you will see me, but not as a part of the parade.
Yes.
I am in the background coordinating, likewise, with Officer Metivier to ensure that the thing is seamless and a memorable experience for the public.
Of course. And I know it being our Jubilee last year, it was a memorable experience. I'm looking forward to see what the TTT, the Defense Force, and everybody else have planned, because it was an amazing showing last year, I must say. So congratulations, gentlemen, and we look forward to see what's going to be happening next week at our Independence Day Parade.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. And that was, of course, Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Winston Maharaj.